Lauren Wowsite.
Hello and welcome to the Saladcast on Sunday the 3rd of July 2016. I'm your host and it's my birthday today, Dan Train. And joining me today is Zachary Burgess.
Yes, I'm here and I'm not as loud as Rob was. But now Rob is not loud. And here he is.
And Robert Kemp.
Welcome to episode 31, Dan.
Thank you.
If only. Just imagine if this was only episode 31.
We would still be funny.
Yep, exactly.
Excellent.
It's so funny.
Do our episodes last a year? Is that what you were trying to say?
I guess an episode of...
Don't you mean like season 31?
That would
season
31.
Yeah, of the 10.
Season 31 of this podcast, only another 50 years. Wait, that doesn't make any sense.
Can you add up, Zach? It's like...
Apparently not. Let me pick up this calculator that's on my desk and do some very simple maths.
Okay, here we
What
go.
season are we on again? I don't even remember.
Well, maybe that's part of the challenge here. No. Wait, I can't remember. What are we on now?
I think we're on 6.
I think
we're still making the
6.
outtakes for 5, right?
Right.
Yeah, we're definitely 6.
Oh,
No, we're season 7.
Oh yeah, I guess that would have started not that long ago, even.
We've been doing this 6 years.
So yeah, basically, as you.
So it's going to take another 20
on the outtakes.
So it's going to take another 25 years to get to season 31 of the Saladcast.
We'll get there.
Gotta have targets. Gotta have goals. Let's get to season 31.
Why is 31 the goal, though? Because that's how far I've got in my life.
I don't know.
It's totally arbitrary.
We should always get the Saladcast up to the length of our lives.
That's not really possible.
It's not going to work, is it?
But that means you always have a goal. Hey Zach, what in terms of mineral qualities, what the hell is birefringence?
I don't know. You'd have to tell me how it's spelt for a start.
Well, bio, like fire, but with a B.
Okay.
And then fringence.
I don't know.
Like the essence of a fringe.
No ideas. Okay. So where did this come from?
It's just like, how we use minerals as our season 7 intros.
Data.
It's just like, the random data on Wolfram Alpha is describing this material's birefringence as 0.025.
Mysterious.
Actually,
what was the material again this time?
Lauren or Luren Wowsite.
Luren Wowsite.
Yeah. It's a real confusing one. Lauren Wowsite. Birefringence. Here we go. The optical property of a material having a refractive index that depends on the polarization and propagation direction of light. That hasn't helped me.
What, so it looks different from different angles? No.
I guess. Or maybe the refraction is different based on the polarization of the light that goes in.
Surely that can't be listed or measured for every mineral. Maybe it can.
You just put something on it, I guess.
Yeah.
Put a light on it. put a thing on it, and then thing it from many different directions.
If you like it, then you should have put a thing on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
or if you
in science, that's it.
Then you should put a thing
in science, you're obliged to thing everything.
Thing all the things.
Thing all the things. How else will we know? Yeah, I don't understand. I'm reading this thing and I've got no idea.
No idea.
Birefringence. It's a cool word.
I thought you were saying bio, but it's bio.
No,
like
it's birefringence.
Bio. Pretty cool.
Bio.
So what's up, guys?
What's up, guys? I bought a new PC.
Exciting
I bought
times.
a new PC.
Because your PC pretty much literally broke.
Yeah, it kind of did. It's sort of tearing itself apart now. And conveniently, that is the system we are now recording this podcast on. So fingers crossed, guys.
Yeah.
Let's hope it doesn't crash out. So what's been happening to it?
I don't know. It's some sort of combination, I think, of Windows 10 trying to do background graphics driver updates combined with the latest version of the NVIDIA drivers actually not working very well on my card. So the current solution is to roll back quite a long way into the past, and then it's all a bit more stable now. But yeah, that was quite the faff, because I even plugged in like old cards to try and narrow down, is it the card that's at fault here, or is it something to do with it? And yeah, so that was an almighty faff last weekend. So I didn't get any video work done last weekend. So that's why you went with had the fruits of Cyril Cyberpunk poured over you.
Oh, I can't wait for that. Did anyone play that game apart from us? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. Like I don't think I've seen any reference to it anywhere else ever.
Well, someone posted screenshots on the Giant Bomb wiki of it, so
wow.
Someone else has seen it.
Where did we find it? Because it was on that classic PC Gamer cover disc, the first one that I ever got, wasn't it? The demo or the shareware for it. And then did you just send off for it? Like through the post?
Yep, actual post.
I bet no one's
I think you can. All right, I need to take it back. Yeah, there's apparently a version you can play in your browser.
No.
On playdosgamesonline.com.
Well, that's just going to be ripped from the DOS archive, right?
Yeah, I think it is.
All right.
I think I tried that version on the DOS archive and it didn't run very well, but then again, not very many things ran very well on
No, most things on these these browser things always strike me as a cool idea, right? The things like, you can play these arcade games through your browser and stuff. They never work very well at all.
No.
Like they run like garbage or have no sound, or it's like, yeah, okay, you can't quite pull this off yet. Not bad attempt though. This one doesn't, like, I've loaded it up right now and it's just not working at all. It's not even loading. So
fair enough. So how did you get it to run the CD version? Did you find your old CD of it, Zach?
Yeah, it's just a DOSBox install. It's not that difficult. It takes a slight bit of tweaking with the settings because it's a CPU bound game. So if you have the emulation running too fast, everything runs too fast in the classic style.
Yep. Do you have to tweak the limiter yourself, or do you just set it to? Yeah,
and there's no way of telling whether I actually got that right. Of course, it's just like this looks about the right sort of speed, probably.
Sort of guessing at the gameplay speed. Yeah. Okay. I mean, that probably meant that it never ran the same speed on people's machines at the time.
No, probably not.
Maybe.
Yeah. I always like turning the limiter off on the original GTA. I don't know whether that would happen now.
Yeah, if you did that now, that would just be like, you're dead.
Yeah. It's done.
Or you'd just be like, running into a wall constantly.
Yeah. So your parts are arriving. Parts tomorrow. Private parts.
I'm getting a new shipment of parts tomorrow. Hopefully, they're supposed to arrive Friday, but before the weekend. But yeah, never trust a next day delivery service. It was rubbish.
Ah, well, you wouldn't have had much time to put it together, given you were coming to.
No. We've had a busy weekend. Getting beer and brass.
Very important to get brassed off.
Get brassed. Get rat brassed.
Rat brassed. Is that what we did?
Is it like getting rat arsed, but you with a trumpet? It was good. Brass roots were quite fun.
So Rob came down for my birthday sort of party thing last night in Brixton. We went to a bar, the Blues Kitchen, right?
Yeah, the Brixton Blues Kitchen.
Yeah, there's a few of those, but we went to the Brixton one, and they had a live band, brass band, right, playing, pop hits, dubstep.
Yeah, apparently tuba dubstep.
So it's pretty cool.
It's a good sound. There should be more tuba dubstep.
I'm sure you could bring that in. Tuba step.
Tube step.
Tube step. Top step.
Top step. Top step's good.
Although that sounds like it involves bathtubs.
Yeah, some kind of Tupperware party. Top step.
Top step. Awesome. Well, that would be top
What's been happening in your kitchen?
Yeah.
What's been happening in your kitchen, Zach?
Speaking of kitchen stuff.
Nothing, really. The kettle still sucks. It's continuing to suck. It was funny because...
Why don't you just buy a kettle? Surely you could get the ultimate one. You could research it.
Why can't you have your own room kettle?
Well,
like
I did
hotel
seriously consider that at some point. But that would actually be convenient because you couldn't just have a kettle in your room. You'd have to have all the other shit you need to make up tea as well. No use having a kettle in your room and then having to carry it all the way downstairs to where like the milk and the tea bags and stuff are.
I suppose you're right. The milk is a problem. You just have to go all in on this. Get like a little mini fridge built into the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
With a single pint on tap at all times.
Single
it wouldn't be on tap.
Like 2 cups of tea for me. Maybe 3. The funny thing about it was that, like, when my parents came back from their holiday, on the first night they came back, they were watching TV in the front room, and I came down to boil a cup of tea, and they closed the door because the kettle was so loud. Because it's like they hadn't been here for a week, so they'd forgotten how loud it was. And it's like, this is your fault. You were the ones who bought this terrible kettle.
But how do you? I mean, boiling water makes quite a lot of noise. Do you need like a dampened?
Well, it's just like we said before about it. It's because it's just a thin metal container. It amplifies the boiling a lot more than like even just a plastic one would. They made bad decisions about kettle purchases.
You need to set them straight. I mean, what would be the ideal kettle? What's your requirements?
I don't know. It needs to ideally be quieter and boil faster than this one.
Right.
Because this one takes forever and is real loud.
I think Zach needs to write this up in some form of blog to sort of be all like Zach's kitchen's requirements. It's like when considering a kettle, these are the key points you need to consider so as not to annoy everyone else around you.
I mean, we could have a new section on the salad. You know, we've got like videos, podcasts, news items, and then we could have a whole kitchen bitchin' section, which is just Zach's
kitchen bitchin' blog.
Yeah, just to inform people.
And I think this is a goer. It's the true money spinner for the salad brand.
Yeah, we're pivoting. I mean, the name's already Happy Salad.
We're pivoting into consumer advice.
Yeah, kitchen advice. Happy Salad would actually make sense as a sort of kitchen brand, potentially.
Yeah, especially if we each week we review a new salad spinner.
Indeed.
I don't think
that actually could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't think there's much difference between salad spinners, is there?
No, I'm not 100% convinced you need one, let alone getting turned into test. It's like we've had one for years and we've used it like twice.
It's to get it like drier, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a centrifugal drying system.
If you don't want wet salad.
Don't want damp salad. You want it fresh, but not soggy. No excess.
They're big and bulky, considering how like minorly important they are.
Yeah, it's a slightly crazy. I don't know if you can really do it with anything else. Like, I suppose the gaps in it are a little bit too big to like put rice in it and then spin that dry.
I don't think that would work.
Maybe we'll do it with noodles. You might be able to centrifugally.
Yeah.
How do you say that? Centrifugally?
Yeah.
Dry some noodles. Or if your meatballs have come out a little bit soggy for some reason, just spin the fat off them.
I don't think it works. Does it work with fat? Oh, I suppose.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I don't think the meatballs are going to survive that. Oh, I don't know. Be worth a try.
Will it spin? There you go. It's another new series.
I think pretty much everything will spin. Whether it will actually do anything is a different matter.
Will it survive a spinning? Do we recommend a spin? Spin win? Question mark. Spin win?
Spin win?
The win spin. Do I need to... speaking of things spinning, you can probably hear my washing machine go bonkers.
Yep. Can hear that.
Yep.
Why? What's going on with the washing machine?
Washing, presumably.
No, I just mean...
There you go. That's a bit better. Sorry. It's just like... It has a ridiculous... Well, I suppose most washing machines do, but it's like its fast spin cycle is a bit crazy and makes it like do a classic washing machine rock. Just like jiggle, 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 jiggle. To the point where you can feel it through the floor a little bit.
Mm.
There have been moments where I thought it's like, oh, is that a little mini earthquake? It's like, no. I'm not in Japan. It's just the washing machine.
Maybe you were just near a washing machine in Japan. I mean,
yeah,
there's like a giant one.
So someone decided they just have like a really the basement is basically a giant glass cleaner in the bar we were sat at, and they just turned it on like once a night. And like,
Yeah.
whoop, 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 whoop. Whoop, whoop. I'm gonna wub these glasses clean. It's a sonic cleaner.
Well, that exists, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's like ultrasonic things. Didn't they try that with like taps at some point, like making it so
Really?
the tap vibrated the water like ultrasonically as it came out, so it didn't. Well, so it washed things more effectively.
I don't know how that works, but
No, I seem to remember some kind of garbage like that existing.
you'd think Dyson would have put it in their stupid tap if that worked. Don't they
They
have
have a tap.
Yeah, I think they made a dryer built into a tap, didn't they? You know,
Just put
it has-
dryers on everything.
Just blows air out the same pipe, presumably.
You see what they need to do now is put their ring that ring dryer into the edge of an umbrella, so it's just like blowing down on you. Like
They
the whole
have that,
time.
don't they? There's some
Do
real
they?
umbrellas you can buy that have it's meant to be like a force field or whatever, but it's really just like a slight airflow around the edge of the like zone under the umbrella, which makes sure that sideways raindrops can't get in as easily.
Really? That's awesome.
Completely
that's actually a cool
unnecessary.
idea.
Just angle your umbrella towards the direction the rain is coming from.
That's what I do. It doesn't quite work
But
for
what
your
if the-
like feet or whatever.
I was about to say, but what if that direction is right in front of you and you blind yourself with
See for
umbrella?
umbrella.
Those things look like crap.
Only crap ones look crap. I bet if you had a really fancy one, it would be nice.
A fancy see-through one.
This is Zach's fashion advice in general. Crap ones look crap. I agree.
Agreed.
Agreed. Much else happening? Other than, England absolutely sucking at football, as we all expected, I guess.
Yep.
And politics going totally haywire.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's worth discussing here.
Definitely not. Well, Wales is winning.
Good job, Wales.
Go Wales. Hope you win.
You're all we've got left, kinda.
Yeah.
Are you watching it, Zach?
No.
Me either.
I'm recording a podcast.
No,
So-
I don't mean
my
right
bad-
now. I mean in general. Why is it? Are they playing now?
No.
No.
I've
Didn't think so.
occasionally been watching the highlights, but I keep forgetting and then letting them stack up, so it's fine.
Yeah, I keep sort of forgetting that it's on this year. I don't know why.
Because it
Like,
hasn't been
normally I'm
very
a little bit more-
interesting. All the
No.
the early games were just like 90 minutes of boredom, and then someone scores at the end.
Yeah, that is kind of how they've been. It's kind of crap. It's just that none of the teams have really been very convincing in their performance, right? Like, all of Europe looks a bit crap right now. just generally.
Yeah.
How are the Germans doing?
They're probably the only slightly good people, but even they're not great.
I mean, it's the blooming Olympics coming up, isn't it? I mean, when's
if that manages to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's what's that, like August?
Yeah, it's usually like August.
Right, a bit later.
I mean, Wimbledon's on at the moment, and I haven't been watching that either. And it's like I normally watch Wimbledon. It's like, what am I doing?
I think Murray's doing standardly well. He won Queens, I think, didn't he? Yeah. I always find that weird how there's like there's a tournament before Wimbledon, like a warm-up tournament.
Yeah, you'd think you'd want to do nothing.
Yeah,
there's just tournaments all the time, really, isn't there? So...
I guess tennis is quite busy.
That's true, but there's a grass one in London the week before Wimbledon.
Oh, I didn't realise that was in London as well.
Yeah, Queens is in London, I think. I think so. Isn't it?
It's in New York.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
No.
That would be a weird place to play tennis, though, probably. Queens in New York.
News!
Yeah, it's in West Kensington. Okay. Anyway, what's the news in terms of video games?
Well, we've got some corrections.
Okay.
Well, one correction, in fact. So we were talking about Gears of War 4 on our E3 extravaganza. And when one of the Gears announcements was that it was going to be crossplay between the PC and the Xbox versions of the game. And it's like, small correction, it's crossplay in the non-competitive modes only.
Yeah, right.
So they are enforcing
theory about that.
Yeah, they're enforcing like the controller divide, I guess, like keyboard and mouse players. You stay playing with other keyboard and mouse people.
But as far as we know, that's the only one that they're doing that for so far.
Well, yeah, that's the only detail we have. I think Phil Spencer has said that it's kind of up to the developers how they handle that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not a mandated thing that everything has to be crossplay. It's just like, well, if you can do it, then maybe make some smart decisions about how you do it. But I think this sounds sensible. It's like, well, it's sensible to a point. It's like, I reckon they should actually be like doing like you're playing with a controller, therefore you will be match made with other controller people, regardless of what platform you're on. Or does that then become a bit easier to spoof? Like, what if you tried to make your keyboards and mouse act like a controller? Can that be done? And then does that create a problem anyway? I don't know. But anyway, they're not doing it.
I mean, they're
just keeping it.
To be honest,
it's weird, isn't it? Like, there's a lot of. We came away with it sort of saying it's like, well, it looks like Gears, but that demo was a bit ridiculous, right? We're propping up a cannon or that catapult thing whilst being shot at by a turret that mysteriously decides not to shoot at us while we stand out in the open during this canned animation.
Yeah,
it seems a bit silly. But at the same time, the rest of the internet seems to be all like, hell yeah, I'm up for some more Gears. And I'm like, I'm not sure. I don't think the Coalition are proving themselves from what we've seen since they took over from Epic. We just don't know.
Don't know.
Reserve full judgment until the game comes out, I guess.
Which is when?
This year, sometime. Sort of
okay.
Holiday. And I've got a bit of a list of stuff we missed. Like, so is other things that were happening in and around E3 that we either didn't get time to cover or didn't realise happened. So actually, the majority of this list is things that weren't mentioned at E3. So there was no mention of Battle Cry.
Yes.
That thing seems to have gone. It's not dead, apparently. Like, there's a whole studio that still exists called Battle Cry Studios.
Well, I think at some point they did a beta, right? And then everyone hated it.
Probably. Was that straight after last year's E3, where they're like, "Hey, come in this closed
soon
beta"?
after, maybe.
Yeah. So anyway, if they've taken that right back to the drawing board, then that's probably wise. Also, no actual mentions of Final Fantasy VII Remake, notably.
Well,
but
it's not like Square had their entire own conference again.
No, but when asked about it, like the development of that is still in in their own words, in the very early stages. But they have said that each episode of this game is going to effectively be like a full-sized product, which I think Square later expanded upon that to say, look, we're thinking that each one of the episodes is going to be about the size of Final Fantasy 13. So FF7 Remake is going to be big, but also but it also makes the episodic nature of it perhaps more, I don't know, palatable, like maybe a bit more acceptable to those wanting it.
I don't know, because it's like, how much, if it's going to be like 3 whole games worth of length, it's like, how are they going to stretch it that long? I mean, we finished the original in 36 hours.
Sure.
I mean, we didn't do everything, I guess.
No, I mean, you could clearly spend hundreds of hours if you wanted to do everything in that game, but
not due to there being tons of content, due to it being bullshit grinding.
Yeah.
The things we didn't do were things that would probably take like 10 hours each or something, like grinding through all the chocobo shit, or grinding the battle points to get the final limit breaks, or
again, I'm pretty sure you can get through the 13 in a lot faster than like 30 hours. I think you can get through 13 maybe in 15, something like that, because it takes you 10 hours to get to the bit where the game opens up.
Yeah.
Into when you get to Grand Pulse or whatever, and then most of that stuff is entirely optional when you're there. So you can probably just like blitz past that point if you want to. You're probably under-leveled, but you could try.
In the content of Final Fantasy VII, it's like the longest bullshit grinding bits were all stacked right at the end, essentially. Because it's like only once you have the full freedom to go everywhere and do everything is when you can do the like 10-hour bullshit grind things. So that doesn't really count as content in the game, really. That would only be in part 3. So it's like part 3 of the remake just going to be really dumb things that take you 10 hours to do.
Well, I reckon they're like restructuring the majority of the game, so that stuff perhaps doesn't exist or is actually part of the key plot line, maybe.
Or like somehow they like space it out one for disc. It'll be like the third part will be the fighting the Uber weapons. The second part will be the chocobos. And then part 1 will be some other crap I don't remember that you can grind for. Oh, I can't wait to see what they do about
maybe the ladder card game. Maybe that's where they're going to pad it out, the ladder card game.
No, you should just like make Fort Condor into an actual tower defense game.
Oh man, yeah, like actually make it a full little game. That could be kind of cool, actually.
Well, it would be better than it was, at least.
Well,
if it was like functional and stuff.
One has to hope. So there was that. And my other little notice that I think I may have already pointed out last time, but Jaeger's Dreadnought still nowhere to be seen. But I did hear that maybe Jaeger had some financial problems recently, which might be slowing them down, I guess. But I'm pretty sure that game is supposed to be releasing this year. So I don't know. It's just a bit weird that we haven't really heard it. It's never really hit the mainstream in terms of news, that game. It's like it's never really hit the radar. So I don't know quite why. It seems interesting. Anyway. So stuff not at E3. Here we go. Other little things that I guess I was supposed to mention. During the Idea Xbox bit, there was some stuff of Hand of Fate 2. And the only reason I bring that up is because we played Hand of Fate 1 not that long ago. They're making a sequel.
Yes.
It looks a lot like the first one. And Volition, the guys behind the Saints Row series, making a new IP called Agents of Mayhem that seems a lot like Saints Row in some ways.
Yeah, I imagine it would be.
Like sort of I'm not entirely sure I get you're like superheroes and it's just sort of an open world with fighting in it.
It's a skin for Saints Row 4.
Yeah. Looks a lot like that. And the again, we probably already mentioned this, but that game that DC teased before E3 turned out to be Injustice 2.
Yeah, I think we guessed that. Or it would.
Yeah, we guessed that's what it was going to be. Yeah, but I'm not sure we confirmed it. But yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, people seem relatively hype about that. Injustice was a well-received game when the first one came out, so it's probably a better idea than trying to make a Superman game of some kind. Because those have never been good. Not ever. So I'm not 100% sure how you could even make a Superman game good, right? Unless you'd have to do like a Batman style or or a Metroid style. Hey, you've lost all your powers for some reason. Regain them.
Well, yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Maybe a Metroid Superman game. Maybe that would work. Or an Arkham Asylum style game.
Sure.
Maybe. But then Superman can just fly wherever the hell he wants. So I don't know how you would make one of those. Unless he can't fly.
That's what you have to do to make a Superman game, is do what they always do with Superman, which is make up bullshit reasons why he can't do whatever he fucking wants. Like, the walls are full of kryptonite, you can't fly through these.
Oh, God.
Turns out there's an awful lot of kryptonite on this planet.
There should be barely any kryptonite, goddammit.
Well, the entire planet did explode. I mean, it was a fucking long way away from Earth, technically. But,
yeah,
but it wasn't the entire planet.
Yeah, probably nothing would land on Earth, right?
Well, unless it was sent
so small
here by something. Make up a bullshit story.
Zod and his crypto magnets.
The Phantom Zone.
The Phantom Zone.
Okay.
Yeah. More news. Hello Games were apparently in a trademark battle over the Sky part of No Man's Sky's name with Sky, the TV company.
Seriously? What?
Yeah. They won it, so they're allowed to use the word Sky. But then, like, it's a weird thing for Sky to get, like, they don't normally do that, right? Because otherwise, like, every film with Sky in the title would be a problem, right?
Vanilla
like, it's Skyfall, Vanilla Sky.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it seemed weird because it's like normally you don't have to worry about trademark infringement on like different types of products. It's like broadcasting and a video game are not that similar in terms of product types. I mean, they are slightly similar. It's more similar than other things that you could have been sued about.
They're on a TV,
not a card game.
No. I guess it's almost certainly one of those things where Sky have to be seen to be protecting their trademarks, otherwise they lose the right to try and protect their trademark in future.
You see, I wonder if that's like a really... I wonder if people have ever thought about that in advance of making a company, where it's like, we want our company name to be like a nice, simple, singular word type thing, but just imagine in the future, if our company becomes successful, how much money we're going to have to spend on legal costs fighting all these legal battles that we don't actually have to fight, we just have to be seen to be fighting because of our really simple name that's just like a regular everyday word.
Yeah, it almost certainly has to be a budgeting consideration, right, for these big companies now. It's like yeah, we've got this much. We've got this much legal.
Make up a better word for the name of your company that's not just like a normal word.
Jaburglar.
Yep.
Co.
Jaburglar. Jaburglar Co. It's even better than Robco.
Robco and the Fucker brand. It's been a long time since you've had a product.
True. They've not been innovating in the same way in the Robco labs.
Do you reckon Sky will come after me if I somehow make some kind of weather machine called the Sky Fucker?
I don't think they'd be too happy. What would that do?
You want some clouds? Fucking have some clouds.
Yeah, exactly.
My fucking
Shoot
sky.
clouds into the sky.
What if I want less clouds?
Shoot the clouds until they die.
Yeah, exactly. There'll be lasers on this thing.
Oh dear.
Cloud lasers. Hey.
Lasers.
Lasers.
Right.
Rumors from the E3 floor. Apparently, a hacker almost stole a Zelda floor demo.
But didn't.
But it's pure speculation. I'm not even sure how they would go about doing it, but because Nintendo's normal booth strategy is to have lots of people at every terminal,
and everything wired to everything else.
Yeah, I guess they might have tried to maybe hack the signal from the gamepads. I don't know.
Well, they're normally wired as well, aren't they?
Maybe on the show, I guess.
I think they were for video, at least.
They probably are at the shows, but then again, who knows if they're just tethered for security as opposed to actual and power and then actually just using
that you don't want to use an actual wireless signal during E3. You'll get fucked.
It never works. Just do it on stage. There was that. A new Sonic game is going to be announced on the 22nd of July to celebrate Sonic's 25th anniversary.
Really?
Woo.
Okay.
And this is not to go with the fact that they're making a new Sonic Boom game on DS.
Well, sure.
And it's not that. There's going to be another one announced.
Like what could it possibly?
I don't know. We don't even know. I mean, unless it's a generation.
At this point, it's probably going to be fucking Sonic 5, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. And did they announce Sonic? I guess Sonic 4 and Generations were pretty close, right?
Yeah, fairly close. At least part 1
or,
Sonic 4.
Or is it literally just going to be, hey, Sonic's in that Lego thing?
What, you think it's not actually going to be a Sonic game? It's just going to be a crossover announcement.
Yeah, Sonic's in Lego. I suppose they've already announced Sonic's in Lego Dimensions, right? So it probably can't be that.
As much as that was an announcement, I guess.
Yeah. Res Infinite has a release date.
Which is?
October 13th this year.
Nice.
Which I think is the exact same day PSVR comes out. So that makes sense.
Well, yes, that would make sense.
That will be fun.
I like everyone's anyone who's played this has come away saying, "Yep, that makes Res better."
Yep, awesome.
Although, specifically the VR aspect of it, it's yep, no, that's got to happen. That feels right. Criterion's Extreme Racing game has officially been cancelled.
No, well, okay.
So they can do nothing but help Star Wars.
Yep, evidently.
Oh, sad times.
Yeah, Criterion aren't Criterion anymore. Let's just be honest. Yeah. So that's not happening. And Splatoon's content is coming to an end, basically. They're doing the last Splatfest on the 22nd of July. The last one, which has been dubbed by the internet as Waifu Wars, because it's Kelly versus Marie, the Squid Sisters.
Technically it always is, but...
But that's the choice this time. It's do you like Kelly or do you like Marie?
So what's the game going to be like when you boot it up after all of this? Because doesn't it?
It will just be normal. Like they're not dropping. They're not turning it off. The game will still be playable, but it's
you know how it has
they're just not going to have the Splatfest content, and there's not going to be any more content updates.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I think it's reasonable to assume that Monolith need to start moving resources onto NX projects. Maybe a Splatoon 2, or I kind of hope it's not called Splatoon.
Splatoon. Yeah. Well, depending on what the NX is, that may or may not be a good idea.
I think it's weird because to me it feels like Splatoon had a bit of a short run, right? It's only that's basically a year of support, and then they've dropped it. And yeah, sure, this is the first time Ninty's ever done something like this, and they did a reasonably good job of it. But I don't know. Splatoon feels like it has more life in it, but maybe Nintendo don't think so. Maybe the player base isn't actually as big as it was. Maybe it hasn't stuck around, but I hope they carry on with Splatoon. I hope it comes back. It's a quality game. And that's pretty much all my news. Not a great deal going on after E3.
What have I got going on? PlanetSide 1 shut down. Lol.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Bioshock remasters. So they've announced the Bioshock collection, which has a remastered Bioshock 1 and 2.
Okay, they could be all right. But then there's still pretty good-looking games now.
Yeah, so
if you put them on a PC, the originals still look fine.
Not bad, but they're pretty old now. So
I guess some of the animation probably looks janky these days, but because it always was a bit janky.
Yeah, it'd be quite nice to see what they do. I think
maybe they fix that 30 frames per second physics problem. Yeah, that would be nice. Be
yeah, maybe. I think they're doing something where... Oh, yeah. So if you already own Bioshock or Bioshock 2 on Steam, you get the upgraded versions for free.
So awesome.
Yeah. So
I'll have them then.
Yeah, so that'll be good. And I've got Infinite or whatever. They're not redoing that, obviously, because that's quite new. But
yeah, it's a bit too new.
Yeah. What else going on?
Does that feel all right? Bioshock, I suppose they are reasonably old, but I'm not 100% sure they're old enough to require a remaster in the same way. Is Skyrim old enough to require? Well, Skyrim, actually, I take that back. Any Bethesda game always needs a remaster, whatever year it is,
because they're still using an ancient engine.
Well, they always look a bit jank.
I mean, Bioshock may look great, but by the time this comes out, it'll be 10 years old, right?
Really?
2007.
Wow. Man, okay, yeah. Suppose you're right.
So it probably doesn't look how you think it looks in your mind.
No, but still, probably not.
Yeah.
It's that art style, right? That art style is so enduring.
Yeah. Other things going on, System Shock Kickstarter. So one of the guys behind System Shock is making a System Shock game, I guess.
I thought System Shock 3 was already a confirmed thing.
Yeah, I thought I'd heard about another Kickstarter type project along those lines.
It's probably the same thing, but they're launching a Kickstarter with a playable demo.
Well, that's the way you're supposed to do Kickstarter these days.
Yeah. System Shock is a complete remake of the genre-defining classic built by a team of industry veterans.
So it's a remake rather than a System Shock 3.
It's a remake.
Like a FF7 remake.
Yeah, I guess, kind of.
I bet they won't, because they probably can't just straight up just remake that game. People have been modding that to be sort of modern, sort of.
Well, System Shock 2 maybe. Yeah,
the original. Yeah. No, I think they'd have to be treat it as a reboot style remake.
That's
okay. No, that is different then. That is new.
And that's mostly it. Civilization 6, is now the England Civ is now Victoria, not Elizabeth.
Okay.
For some reason. And they've got England has units that get more powerful if they're not on the home continent. Lol.
Oh, weird.
Because they're like,
there was other civilizations that already had that bonus.
oh really? Okay, well that's their bonus. And I think their wonder is like the British Museum.
Wasn't like England's thing normally naval?
Yeah, they do have an awesome ship. I think that.
Well, and longbows, always longbows.
Oh, and longbows. Yeah.
Do you reckon they're still getting all of those things then? Or?
Probably.
I don't know about longbows, but I mean that longbows was in Age of Empires, wasn't it?
It was always in Civ as well.
Yeah.
Yep. It's just that, like, the trouble with those kind of bonuses in Civ is just like 90% of the time, civilization bonuses that happen in the really early game, you just don't get enough time to actually use them. Like all the other ancient civilizations, like Greece and Rome and stuff, all their bonuses only happen right in the early game, and it's like you just move past them too quickly for it to be relevant. It's like, oh, Roman legionnaires, well, those are good for like 2 turns, and then I'm already tech past.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
There's a lot of that in Civ in general, though, isn't there? Like, yeah, well, what a country is or what a race is famous for is in a certain age.
Yeah, but the later game ones tend to turn out better. It's like when you've got America with like B-52s, those last quite a while.
That's true.
But then, like, is it for people that are hardcore at playing Civ and stuff, like, is just playing them those Civs considered like easy mode for them, or like, and then you should play the ones that don't have benefits in late game if you want a slightly harder challenge without upping.
I think
just straight up upping the difficulty
anyway. Really, even the bonuses that are good, or well, even the unit type bonuses that are good aren't that important. Bonuses, on the other hand, those can be like significantly more important.
Bonuses.
Ones that like are just overall whatever. Like I think it's in Civ 5. It was like Japan has it so that like no matter what health the unit is on, they attack with the same strength as if they were at 100%.
Oh, sure, yeah. Which
and that's like that's pretty goddamn powerful.
Yeah, which obviously isn't tied to an age either.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is quite strong. Although I sort of didn't do well as the Japanese.
Well, you didn't really get any fights as the Japanese.
No, yeah, the time we played it in that multiplayer game. Yeah. It's just yeah, there was no one to fight. I can't make Japan great if I don't kill everyone. Anyone who's well, Zach, maybe you can shed light on this. Dan was telling me earlier today about, like, apparently the internet is getting hype for the next TF2 update.
What's going on?
Do you know any?
No, I haven't seen any information. I mean, I'm not paying that much attention.
I don't understand why they're getting hype about it. It's really weird.
Well, maybe they're finally bringing one of the modes that they've been working on out of like beta or whatever.
Maybe that's the suspicion. Yeah. I don't know. It just seems odd. I think it must be, mate. It seems like a reaction to the Overwatch stuff that they're like, "Come on, there's got to be some awesome new TF2 thing, to combat this."
Competitive mode.
Yeah,
they're making a Counter-Strike mode in it.
They already had competitive mode. We discussed that previously.
I know, but yeah, making it more competitive. Gunskins, saleable gunskins. StatTrak gunskins. Oh wait,
yeah, already had those as well.
Yep. What they got left? A full-on graphics update.
That would be fairly ridiculous.
I don't think that could work with all the content they've got. All the.
No, it could. It would just be a lot of effort.
But they need a new engine. They need to port it off of Source or something.
But they've got Source 2, haven't they? I thought that was supposed to be a thing.
Technically, yeah.
I don't know what that's supposed to be supporting though. That engine. It's not like Valve are making any
VR
games. Yeah, VR, I guess.
Room scale.
Room scale. Yeah, according to the Steam hardware survey, it's like 80% Vive, 20%. No, sorry. 67% Vive, 19% Oculus Rift.
Okay.
Yeah.
Firewalls.
Whether, but I imagine that most people with the Oculus are using Steam. Not maybe not with it, but they, so it's not just that Vive people have Steam and Oculus people don't. I think everyone has Steam.
Yeah.
But people who have Steam would be more likely to buy Vive because they would have seen advertising for it on Steam.
That is true. Yeah. But I was just trying to think, what's the bias there in that? Are there really people who use Oculus for gaming and don't use Steam, for other stuff? Or I don't know, whatever. Maybe they wouldn't submit to the hardware survey if they had Oculus.
That's true. Yeah. Depends how it was run and who ran it.
Yeah.
Any more news?
I'm fresh out of news.
All right, cool. Well, we got through that real quick.
Yeah.
Post E3. There's always nothing to say post E3.
Right, I guess it's going to be an extended what you've been playing session, but we've got a month of stuff to talk about, right?
Yeah,
so
we've got a whole 4 weeks of content, 5 weeks maybe of content to catch up on.
Who's going first this time? I think it might be you, Rob.
Ooh.
It is time to go.
Let's see what I can remember from about a month ago. So I finished Quantum Break on the weekend. We did our E3 cast.
Oh, yes.
So, I quite liked where that story sort of was going at the end. It took some real interesting twists. It took some nice, you're kind of going back in time to do it on a different path to what was happening at the start of the game, for instance, or minor spoiler alert, I guess. But yeah, you're revisiting moments that you've already sort of been in, but in a different place and with different knowledge. And it's that stuff was handled quite well. And there's some really good moments and some really interesting narrative elements. The problem is that a lot of the more interesting stuff is never fully explored. There's some stuff about the nature of the beings, the shifters that can exist in zero state, in the lack of time, and that is never really fully explored. There's one character in particular who has a bit of a reveal as to his nature, but you still don't really know. You sort of know what he is, but you don't know why he is, I guess. What his motives are and what he's about and stuff like that. That's never really fully explored, and it's quite frustrating because it's that's actually one of the more interesting elements to the story, and it's oh, come on!
And they just left that thread hanging in time.
There's quite the ending is way too abrupt and actually doesn't feel that great itself. It's incredibly open and sort of just stops. And it's
really.
It's what do we? Where's this going to go now? Are they? I can only theorize that they are very deliberately saying we want to do a sequel.
But are they going to do a sequel to?
Yeah, and if they do a sequel, are they going to be able to do it in the way that they did this one? Are they going to be able to do more of the show element, or are they just going to go straight up game next time? I don't know. I reckon Quantum Break will be revisited. The reports are that it hasn't sold megatons, but that it's done sort of okay. So I don't know. Knowing Microsoft and their sequelitis, we'll probably end up seeing it again. And I kind of hope we do, because maybe they'll make a slightly better game this time. But
it's nice to have a new IP.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is a lot to like about this. There's a lot to like about the narrative. There's a lot to like about the style, like I said before. I just wish it's all around. I just kind of wish it was that little bit better. There's room for improvement. It's a good debut, but not like it's like I don't know. I'm thinking Assassin's Creed here in my head, where it's like some interesting ideas there, but you need another crack at it to really get it right. So I hope they get the chance, or either that, or it's going to be another 10 years till we see Alan Wake 2. I don't know.
Well, apparently they're not working on another Alan Wake or something, and they want to, but they're not. Something like that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I think they are quite fond of Alan Wake, given the number of Alan Wake Easter eggs there are in this game.
Oh right, yeah. Are there any Max Payne ones? Or?
Surprisingly not. Probably because they don't own the IP.
Right, so they can't.
There's probably good reasons for them not to.
I wonder if.
But they didn't even subtly reference it.
What
which
they
would
didn't
probably be allowed. Yeah.
I wonder if Rockstar will make a Max Payne 4. I don't know. It's kind of
maybe.
done.
Yeah, maybe Max Payne as a character is probably done. Maybe. But
yeah, I mean, it was a bit
Son of Max.
Son of Max. Yeah, that could work. It was almost a bit too gritty for its own good, that third Max Payne.
Yeah, it's not really what the first two were about.
Not really. It was, the first two were a bit more sort of, I don't know, campy or schlocky. Schlocky, yeah. In a good way.
Schlocky's a good way. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they were ridiculous.
Blood platforms in space. Yeah, so I finished that. And then almost immediately moved on to The Rise of the Tomb Raider. That game's a whole lot like the last one. There's more tombs.
Well, that is probably the most important thing.
Yeah.
Because there was a severe lack of tombs in the first one.
In a strange way, the tombs feel smaller this time, as in the actual puzzle that you have to solve. There's only a few steps to it, but it feels like there's more of them, so they're more smaller tombs, I think. Seems to be the direction of this one. And each one seems to have actually some kind of takeaway, some kind of skill that you learn from something, from a tome of some kind. So there's reason to do them rather than just a collectible. So it's a good looking game. It's got to be said. There's I'm playing the Xbone version, and sure, it's not running at 60 like I played the first one on PC. Actually, I remember I played the first Tomb Raider in 3D at 60 on my PC. But so it's not. It doesn't have that smoothness, but there's some pretty good effects going on. Like some of the I don't know if it's still running on Trez effects or or some equivalent, but it's
all about hair.
Yeah, it's all about the hair. But the hair physics is pretty good. And some of the animation is real good. Again, again, it was in the first game, but there are moments where it's just it looks real natural. Gnome was watching me play it actually, and she said she was impressed with. They haven't made Lara run too girly girl, but at the same time, she doesn't animate like a man. Was how she worded it. It's
okay.
So they've done a pretty good job of hitting that she's a athletic lady as opposed to she's running with her hands are flailing. So I guess that's praise.
But apart from that, mostly the same.
Yeah, pretty much identically the same. I guess there are at the moment the game feels a little more linear than the first one. I haven't had a need to to find an area that acted a bit more like a hub. You just sort of go from area to area, and there are some bigger areas, but with side stuff to do in them if you want. But they're all basically there's no there hasn't really been a hub zone yet where you sort of get to one area where there's quite a few routes off here. And it's always been oh no, there's actually one critical path through here with a ton of side stuff here as well if you want to do that. So that's a little different, and also the actual pacing of the game seems to be less combat focused than the first. There's been more of the exploration and survival elements thus far. Although I'm fully expecting that to change into, there's explosions, run the hell away, because there's already been quite a lot of those sequences. Which the first
ridiculous stealth.
Yeah, the stealth is really dumb. So it's really lenient, and you can get away with quite a lot. There's now like an Assassin's Eagle Vision sort of thing as well. You can do now where you can you turn that on and you can see when enemies can see each other. So if they appear red in your survival instincts, then it's like, I better not get that guy because that will alert this other guy. But like the ones that are gold, it's like, no, he's safe to headshot. Just take him out. So some of that stuff is really simplified, I guess. And the only other, I'm slowly getting introduced to the concepts of crafting mid-fight, which actually seems a bit more clunky than it does useful.
Well, you'd think so, yes.
So the crafting is real quick, but it's like at the moment, there's one thing like a shrapnel bomb that you can get, which like if you find an empty food can lying around, and I forget what they call it. It's some kind of ore you could just mine out of walls occasionally. You craft this can and some ore together, and then it creates this shrapnel bomb that you just throw at people. But you've got to have found a can on the floor. You can't stockpile that can. It has to literally. You literally have to have stumbled upon it.
That's so ridiculous.
Pick it up, go through the craft, and then throw it. But then you've got to have had enough time to do that because the enemy is actually quite good at flanking you.
It's just like, I can't carry any of these cans around, but I can carry some ore.
Yeah, it's a bit silly, and the flow of that process doesn't feel right. There's moments where, say, you want, like, in the middle of a fight, you run out of arrows, you can hold a button down to craft more arrows out of the wood and feathers you're carrying. For some reason, you carry a lot of wood.
Yeah, that seems like if you're going to run out of arrows in the middle of the combat, you really should have thought ahead a bit more, I guess.
Yeah. I think some of it is that they obviously looked at Last of Us and were all like, okay, you're carrying bottles and alcohol or something, let's make a Molotov. And you can do some of that mid-fight if you're quick enough. And probably thought, that's a good idea, maybe we'll do that. But I'm not convinced by the system they've added. Otherwise, it's more tomb raiding. You have to learn languages now. You get better at Russian by reading more Russian.
Not in a particularly natural way.
Yeah, you learn more Russian by reading Russian, which then increases your Russian level. And there are certain monoliths that you find around the place that reveal coins, ancient coin stashes. And it's but you have to have enough language level in order to read that particular monolith. And there's multiple languages. There's Greek and Mongolian and stuff as well. Not that anything in the game is actually written in Greek and Mongolian, it seems. You can't actually see the Mongolian. So I will carry on with that. The storyline seems better so far than the first one. Perhaps a little more generic, but not quite so crappily written. It's got a main... It's got a main plot this time, rather than I'm in some place I need to survive.
There's actually a plan.
Yeah, there's a reason for you to be there. There's backstory. There's family strife. There's betrayal. It's kind of working. That's why it's working. And I think it's the same writer. I think it's still Daughter Pratchett doing it. But so she might have actually done a good job this time.
Okay.
So that's Tomb Raider. What else am I up to? I have been playing more Zelda. I think I'm right at the end because I'm at the bit where you fight not Ganon.
Right.
In Lorule Castle.
Yeah.
I basically only just survived the first half of that fight, and it's oh crap, there's a second half to this fight. Balls. I have no health left, and immediately died.
You need to stock up on all your potions and fairies and bullshit.
Yeah, I need to
as vigorously.
I'll need to talk to you later because I don't think there's a fairy fountain in Lowrule Castle. So yeah, I don't know where the nearest. I don't know where the easiest stash is.
Well, if you're starting from a save point, you pretty much just go wherever, do you?
Sure, but I can never remember where they are. I'll have to look it up. Just get some fairies. That's all I want. Can you get a third bottle?
I don't remember, probably. I mean, typically in Zelda games there's 4, but I don't remember whether that was still the case in this one.
I've only got 2, which might be a little lacking.
Seems like there should be more than 2.
Yeah, hopefully. The game's alright. Still continues to be alright. Some of the boss fights are a bit basic, and that ice water cave, was it the ice cave with all the floors? Lots of floors.
With all the floors.
That was a bit of a pain in the ass. Yeah, it's a good game. It's a good game. Maybe not Game of the Year game, as like I said before, but it's a pretty good game.
Was it a contender? I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
No, I don't think it was with us, but
no.
I think it got awards elsewhere on the internet.
Right, yeah.
So I'm not quite sure it deserves that accolade.
But still, solid Zelda.
I haven't got the dash boots yet. I still haven't got the dash boots. Where the hell are the dash boots? I know they exist because people talk about dashing.
I'm still pretty excited about Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, it looks all right. Well, I'm a little worried in the sense that it looks generically open world in many ways.
I think it'll have the Zelda twist or the Nintendo twist on open world because Nintendo have never done an open world game, right? So I reckon they always do things differently, So I'm sort of, hopeful there. Yeah,
it's things like it's some interesting ideas afoot. Like I didn't realize until recently that there's like weapon breaking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, they showed
it's going to be forcing you to. I know, but I didn't really take it in. I guess, and then like now I've seen it again, and it's just like, oh right.
That seemed like it was going to be quite a big part of it, actually. Like,
it seems like a key mechanic.
Yeah.
Yeah, rather than necessarily you having well, how does that play into the Master Sword and stuff? Does the Master Sword break?
Probably not, but you probably won't get it until later.
You probably don't want to throw it into a cliff.
And the Master Sword is in the logo, right? It's all messed up, so I don't know. Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily messed up, is it? It's all just in a Yodi Grove, as always. Or...
No, I thought the actual sword in the logo was a little bit kind of rusted and dented and stuff. I can't remember. Have a look.
And again, apparently the blacksmith can work the Master Sword in Link Between Worlds.
Totally somehow make it even better than it was to start with.
I did discover some more ore, like doing a bit of exploration after my boss attempt, so it might be a bit easier this time.
Yeah,
I got 2 more bits of ore. It's red now. What else we got? Starfox Guard.
Oh yeah,
I've played a little bit of that as well.
Like the good part of Starfox. Lol.
It's actually all right. Yeah, it's quite. It hasn't grabbed me in the sense, like not many games seem to do at the moment with me. Like, it hasn't got that super hook. But while I'm playing it, it seems quite. It's interesting. It's way more frantic than I thought it was going to be. Like, they don't ease you in as slow as I was expecting. Yes, the tutorial section at the start of the game is a bit long and a bit teaching you to suck eggs once you've already figured out how the game works. It's like, oh yeah, no, do this thing to do this thing. And it's like, yeah, I know. And you'll get like a cutscene saying that. And then worse than that, actually later on, there'll probably be an on-screen pop-up before a mission saying, oh, hey, do this thing to do this thing. And you're like, yes, you already told me that. Even after you figured it out for yourself. It's a little bit over the top with that stuff. But it's there are moments where that game is way harder than I thought it would be. Like stuff coming in at like unexpected times, and there's a lot to deal with all at once, and it doesn't take long for the robots to get in your base and then get to the middle and screw it over. Stuff like that. And if you're not on top of a situation, things can go bad real fast. And now there's flying saucers that just skip the level completely unless you look up. And it's like, oh, what? Oh.
That does sound cool.
It's hectic, but it kind of works. I kind of like the fact that the cameras are all kind of crappy frame rate until you take control of one as well. So it's like keeping your eyes on the other side, on the corners of the screen and stuff is kind of lo-fi compared to what you have in the middle screen. And that may have been like a restriction of the power of the Wii U. I don't know, but it actually kind of works stylistically as well. It has some classic Nintendo problems in that I would quite like things like the end of level celebrations and the restart to be faster and all of that usual nonsense that goes with a Nintendo game. Like, can I not watch this sequence?
Can I just get back into it?
Skip through it? Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, thanks, bye.
And almost all of the actual like bits where Slippy or Grippy are talking to you are unskippable, so that's kind of annoying sometimes. It's that's a fun little thing. I'll carry on. The boss, I've only done the first completed corn area in it, and I think there's actually quite a lot of areas in the game. So it actually could be quite big in terms of content. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll come back to it. Depends how much I'm distracted by new PC goodness.
Yes, you should be able to play all kinds of shit soon.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to revisit some stuff on New Machine. Like, I want to go, but once I'm all set up and stuff, I should probably see what Dirt Rally is supposed to look like.
Well,
yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, but the problem with that
and see if the wheel works.
That would be the problem. So you still won't be having the wheel problem solved probably if it is Windows 10.
Oh, we honestly don't know, but it's worth a try. It's worth a shot. I'm giving that Dolphin 1.5 a go as well. I suppose that's news. Like emulation news, Dolphin had a major update recently that solves a great deal of the long-standing problems that Wii and GameCube emulation had. It's quite impressive what they've managed to achieve with that thing.
I need a step by step to get me the best possible Rogue Squadron experience from. Yeah. What do I have to click to get?
Well, classically, here's where the sketchy emulation bit. You'll need a ROM or dump of the game. So, yep, you own it. So, in theory, a dump of your own copy is totally legal.
Okay.
But most of the time, you just get hold of a copy that's identical as much as you can.
Yeah.
Because dumping those discs is generally not easy. And you basically download 1.5 Dolphin for Windows, set it up, and hope for the best. So setting it up is actually quite simple. Most of the games have it has its own little internal database of I know how to run this thing.
Oh, okay.
But you can go in and you want to set some defaults up. I want to use DirectX 12, or I want to run it at twice the normal resolution, or allow these effects. It's Dolphin does a pretty good. There are some hardcore settings in there, but it does a pretty good job of when you hover over them to sort of say what it's for and what it does, and suggests if you're not sure, just leave it how it is. Kind of leave this unchecked, kind of stuff. Because for the most part, the defaults will suit you just fine. And I can. While I can't say that my current machine is fast enough to run stuff in Dolphin well enough to be playable, I can tell from my previous experiments and stuff that graphically things are way better now. Awesome. So I experimented with F-Zero GX and Sonic Colors, because we want F-Zero desperately want to play, and Sonic Colors at some point we should really do a video of. Or a video series. And Colors had issues with Certain elements just wouldn't render quite right, no matter what version of the rendering pipeline you'd use. Like the DirectX 9 version, actually, the older DirectX renderers actually did a pretty good job of doing things, but you'd see bounding boxes around some items, like around reflection objects, for instance. You could see the zone in which it was rendering for some reason. So it had a few little issues like that. Whereas if you ran it at the better renders, those effects were gone. But then occasionally the whole thing would just sort of spaz out, and large parts of the level are missing. Why has that happened?
Yeah.
So that wasn't a perfect runner. But now I can't see any problems with it running on the new renderer and stuff like that. It just doesn't run fast enough. Okay. For me. Same with F-Zero. Some of the graphical effects are miles better than they were before. It looks almost identical to the GameCube version now, and but it just doesn't. Certain effects just grind my system to a halt. It's running at 50% speed on the sand levels because the effect they use to put heat haze in the background is apparently a killer. It just
destroys it.
Really, really difficult to emulate well. And so just kills the speed completely. But yeah, that effect now works at least. It looks good. But yeah, just can't run it at speed.
Right.
Dolphin 1.5. Go check it out. They made a cool little launch trailer for it that explains everything they've done.
Oh, we'll check that out. Awesome. Really cool.
Yeah, it's neat. Good work there.
Hold on. It's 5.0. 5.0. Dolphin 5.0.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah, there you go.
That's right. Rather than version 4, or 4 point something.
Yep.
That they were on before. Yeah, that makes way more sense. But yeah, go check it out. It's awesome. It's a cool little project. Now all we have to do is hope that someone masters original Xbox at some point.
Oh, man. Could Jet Set Radio future.
Yeah.
Jeez. That'd be awesome.
I think that's the one thing that the guys that are working on OG Xbox emulation always get asked about. It's can I run Jet Set Radio? And it's well, no, you can't really run anything right now. God damn it. And still there's the promise now. It's if Microsoft managed to emulate the 360, it's there's hope now, right? There might be a 360 emulator. So
that would be crazy.
Yeah, they can't do the OG Xbox, but someone managed to do a 360.
Yeah,
okay.
Jump straight to it.
Right, what else we got? I think that's the majority of it. I'm still playing a lot of Overwatch. As my sort of go-to, I need a quick game here. They launched competitive mode yesterday, which I had a quick go on.
So what's the differences there?
So the major difference is primarily the matchmaking works differently. It's based on your skill rating, and I'm hearing things that your skill rating might actually be based on various it might actually almost be map specific in some cases, but generally it's based on your win-loss statistics.
Oh, okay.
It makes sense to treat it that way in a game like that, because it's you don't want players just going to improve their kill def with Reaper, for instance, because that's what it's tracking your skill with that character on.
Yeah.
So it's almost entirely just win-loss based, which has in my experience so far encouraged teams to try and work together a bit more, actually as a team. It's so far it's been pretty positive. It's but I have been reading a lot of things that it's the Overwatch community isn't that happy with what competitive play has done to people in the game. As in, if you're in competitive mode, you're going to get way more crap slinging, in terms of the chat, in terms of the usual multiplayer game nonsense that goes on. Is there, whereas it's been mostly free from that in the casual play.
Well, that sounds definitely worth having that mode.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like it. Puts more. The games are longer as well. So if you're playing like the King of the Hill style game mode, it's like best of 5 now rather than best of 3.
Right.
And it does some like cool on screen graphics and stuff now. Like so when a round's over, it like tots up the points in a big like sort of like scoreboard style, and the announcer reads it out like it's 2-2, and it's so some of the presentation is quite cool there. I'm kind of into it for now. It's like I think it works in some ways. The competitive play actually works a bit nicer for the King of the Hill stuff than necessarily it does for the payload stuff, because the payload games like it only forces 1 round per side. But then like a game of payload previously wasn't really tight, didn't really force you to do a game per side anyway. It just sort of like the game was you're attacking or defending, and when that round's over, it's just like, oh, that's over. Like moving on. The servers will swap roles, but it's like the game is a separate thing each time. They're not really linked to each other. Whereas now that's a big deal. Like if one team managed to get the payload like 3 spots along the course, that team will get 3 points for their round. And then as soon as the other team breaks the 4th point, say, with their payload, it's like the game's over. It just cuts right there and said, nope, the other team got further. They won.
That's it. That's the end of the game. Yeah.
The match is over.
Or the match, yeah.
Yeah. So
they should really have done it like they used to do in the Unreal one, where it's like it wasn't just how far you got, it was whether you could make it in the same amount of time.
I think they do that too. I think there's a track for that going on as well. So if the time runs out before you make 3 points, for instance, then it just cuts anyway. But
is it based on the other team's time, or is it just the?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, because you can see the time that the other team took at the top of the screen, to get where they got. So like maybe if it comes down to a 3-all draw, then the time to get to that point comes into play. I don't know. I've not had that scenario come up yet. As I say, I've only tinkered with it for a few matches. But I'm keen to get in and try some more. And I guess there is one other thing I should talk about. I bought a fight stick.
Yeah.
I've ended up with a Mad Catz Tournament Edition, the Street Fighter 4 Round 2 livery, and it's a cool fucking thing. I really like it. It's like it feels good.
Have you never had a fight stick?
No.
Okay, but of course,
this is
you've played plenty of arcade machines with built-in.
Oh sure, yeah. It feels really nice. I've been playing a lot of Killer Instinct, trying to get back into that with the new things, and yeah, that's quite a well thought out game for playing it with a stick. There are certain shortcuts that you can do on a controller, like the right stick, had some shortcuts if you were trying to do combo breakers. But once you've adjusted to it, like it's a double button press on the lights, on the mediums, or on the heavies, depending on what you're trying to break. And after a little bit of practice, that becomes you sort of just forget the old way of doing it and get used to it pretty quick. It's just it just feels good. There's no other way of saying it. It's like certain moves are much easier to pull off. Like the classic like Z movement to do a Ryu's uppercut style motion is way more natural on a stick than it is on a pad.
I mean, it's just how the games are designed to be played, really, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And it's clear, yeah. They're just those sort of fighters. Anyway, I think fighters like Tekken and stuff like that actually probably are fine on a pad compared to a stick, because a lot of their movement is button based. A lot of their moves are you press buttons in a timed sequence as opposed to a stick action and then a single button press. Right? It's like Tekken's move list is always so long because they're like, square, circle, triangle, combination of 2 buttons, and then another combination of 2 buttons, and then maybe a stick movement, and then so it's almost entirely a button combo, which is probably just as doable on a pad as it is on a stick. Whereas I don't know, the more Street Fighter-y fighters really shine when you put a stick on them. So I'm going to be playing some Skullgirls. I'm going to try, although the horrific nightmare that is MAME is a bit of a pain in the ass to set up these days. But there are things you can do. Like I should be able to play old MAME games on this stick just fine. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Proper arcade games with a proper arcade stick.
So what's next on your list?
What, for random stick purchases?
No,
Well,
for
like-
games to play with it.
Games to play with it. Like, it depends a little bit. It's like when Injustice 2 comes out, that might be worth, like, because Mortal Kombat follows some of the control, what do you call it? Kind of controls tropes of the Street Fighter series. So things like that might be worth playing on a stick. And look, think of little other things like Pac-Man CEDX. Play it on a stick. It's an arcade game. Play it on a stick.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be fun.
That would be cool. Yeah.
I reckon some of the more like just arcadey shooters in general, you can probably like shmups, for instance, play them on a stick. They're digital input anyway on those things, so yeah, it's cool. I like it. It's big. It's way bigger than I thought it was going to be.
Big.
It's like a couple of.
I mean, you don't have that much
Just-
space
just-
on your desk, to be honest. So
Well, no, I don't know where I'm going to store it when I'm not in use. At the moment, it's just set off to the right where all my like controllers and headphones and stuff normally live when they're sort of in active use. I freed up some space on some shelves behind me so I could rebox it when it's not in use. But at the moment, it's just sort of sat on my desk. It's like 4 inches tall. It's really thick.
really,
Really thick. But it's a cool thing. Having fun. Well, there'll be more to say when I toy with it more.
with your new PC. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I get in on that Street Fighter action. Maybe when Street Fighter 5's updates will eventually happen. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I guess time for a segue, I suppose. Zach and I played some of the new season of Rocket League.
Oh yeah. What's going on
Yeah,
with Rocket
some.
League? They reset everything.
Yeah, all the matchmaking and all the skill rankings and all the internal skill rankings all updated.
Yes, it was weird because I didn't even know that there was an internal skill rating for your casual rank, but apparently there is.
No.
It's just that because they never reset it, it was basically the same as your casual rank. Because you just ranked up over time anyway. But apparently there was actually a skill-based one attached to that. So that will reset, and then you just played weird matches for like a week or two, where it's like, oh, here's a match with a legend and a semi-pro.
Yeah, well, it was a bit all over the place for a while. It's like, oh man, these guys are really good, and then the next match you'll play is like, these guys have never played the game before.
Nice.
And it also seems they maybe also changed like the actual rank as well, because it seems like when you go through your placement matches, 10 placement matches to get put into the rank, it just almost always puts you way in the bottom. Like you just always rank into poopy lowest tier and then have to work your way up.
We weren't far off the bottom, were we, in our team play? But
Well, I think we were in the bottom rank, weren't we, Prospect 1? We just weren't in Division 5 of Prospect 1, I guess.
no, we were in the sort of the upper end of Prospect 1, I think, and then we've been working our way up.
But at least when you're that low down, you just go up a division like every game, more or less.
Yeah, the movement seems fast down here.
So that's been good. And and there's the new map, which we were speculating about before, where I said they only had 2 choices and they couldn't take the third option. And they did take the third option. They took one of the 2 choices, which was to say, fuck everyone who hates Wasteland, we're putting this in as well.
Yeah, so another non-standard map, a Rocket Lab map, in fact, has been upgraded from being a Rocket Lab map to being in the major rotation, and it got a whole new skin and stuff, the Neo Tokyo skin,
and some slight adjustments from the original Rocket Labs version.
Yeah, I like the look. The Neo Tokyo look is real nice, and the sort of like crazy Japanese voiceover man.
Yep, that
is quite fun.
I don't think it's that bad a map.
Sam.
I always find it hilarious
it's
when
fine.
everyone was bitching about it.
it plays very differently, and it's going to take some getting used to. I still think every game we've had has been a bit like everyone's been a bit crap at it.
Well, yeah, that's definitely been the case. The
So,
thing is,
yeah, it's
I saw a lot of people. So there was a patch sometime after the update where they said they fixed some collision issues on that map, which, you know, I mean, there's still collision issues on Wasteland that they haven't fixed, so so
Yeah.
you know, maybe they'll get to some of those someday. But the thing that I saw a lot of people bitching about the new map is that they'd say that, like, oh, I hate this map because it's so random, and it's like, this is a game that operates on physics, you know. Entirely 100% predictable physics. There's nothing random about it. Just because there's weird angles on the map doesn't make it random. It just makes it predictable in a different way.
Yeah, it can feel random. Like, you know, it's like when at the speed of the game, when you get those sandwich moments, it's like the physics may have done something
that's
crazy.
the one thing that does feel random, but it's not because of the map.
No,
there's nothing about the shape of that map that, like, there's no, like, weird bit of wall that morphs in real time or something that makes the ball deflect differently.
Sure.
You can't call it random.
I don't think any physics simulation is 100% like in gaming, because they all take shortcuts to make it work properly.
And that's why they had to do that patch where they fixed the ball physics at one point, where it's like we're making it better. And if there were collision problems in the level, that could have seemed random because it would have been like an actual error in the collision mapping or whatever, I guess. But it's not random. So stop bitching about it. And you know, at this point, you still get games where it's like people just quit immediately whenever that map turns up. But it's like, there's no use doing that. You're not going to get better at it if you don't play it. It's not going away.
Yeah. Does that happen in ranked in your experience as well? Or?
I've only seen it. Well, I don't think I've seen anyone quit. I've joined into a game where someone wasn't there and then they didn't join before the round started, so they might have quit before I loaded in.
Oh, right, I see.
So I'm not entirely certain. It could have happened.
But still, a once maybe in ranked. That's not too bad.
Well, a couple of times. But definitely in casual, you'll see people just immediately quit. It's just like, come on. Map isn't that bad. In fact, really, that map is like, if you want to score goals, just play that map. It's well easy to score. Not just because everyone's really bad at it. Like, the shape of the level is sort of naturally helps you with setting up goals much easier. So there you go.
By a fringent map.
Yes, clearly. Polarized.
Apparently, you can also say biofringent as biofractive.
Oh, that makes maybe more sense.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that happened with the Rocket League update was, new stuff, new random shit to put on your car.
New hats.
Yep.
And hat crafting.
Well, sort of crafting. Trade in all your shitty duplicates for slightly better duplicates because you're going to get the same duplicates a lot for some reason.
Yeah. More stuff.
Yep, more stuff.
That's no bad thing. And it was all free. It wasn't even DLC.
Well,
although there's more DLC coming, apparently. But...
Well, there's cars that were only in the physical release that don't become DLC until the 18th.
Yeah. What did they call the physical version? Is it like special edition or something? Or...
Yeah, something like that. Definitive
edition.
And at least one of those cars has a really annoying engine.
Right.
Like every time I hear it, it's just like, oh, is that fucking car again? And it's really bad when you spawn at kickoff and it's like behind you in like goal position and you're slightly further forwards because it's for some reason that makes it really loud. I guess because it's right next to the camera and like the sound is related to where the camera is. And it just sounds like kind of like just like a hairdryer or something. It's like just directly in your ear. It's a terrible engine. They did a patch to fix after the new season came out to fix that some sounds were too bassy, which was what I was complaining about ages ago. It was like way before the update, like they did a patch ages ago that made this problem where like it was particularly on like the goal scoring celebration music on like Urban Central, some of the levels. It was just like it was really bassy for no reason, and I was like, that's weird. It's like they fucked it up somehow, but no one else seemed to think that was a problem. But then they patched it. I don't think it's like
I'm not sure it really affected everyone because I never noticed it as being excessively bassy.
Yeah, it was weird.
I know they screwed up we know they screwed up the crowd on Utopia, but
well, yes, but that was in that patch specifically. The bass problem had existed way before that.
Mm.
But the weird thing about it is like I saw the patch note that said they fixed the bass problem, and I was like, they can't mean that one specific bass problem that I had. And it turned out they did, because the bass problem I thought they were talking about was those goddamn the new boosts from the end of season 2.
Yeah.
Where it's like in the distance they just sound like weird like tubas all the time. It's like in the distance.
Some tubstep.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't fix that. Maybe that doesn't need fixing, I don't know. Kind of annoying.
I don't think it was that bad. I don't know if it's just something about my sound system, but like I've never really had a problem with the EQ of that game.
Well, I don't think that's an EQ problem. It's like they've messed up the like distance related volume or something on that sound effect. Like it doesn't fade it far enough as it gets further away or something. It just like mutes it or
possibly
like makes it more bassy. It's weird. Less noticeable. Like it was mainly most notable on like the first couple of days after the patch when everyone was using it, of course.
Yeah. Whoa.
So yeah, Rocket League, and also we need to play more of it because Kibbers is apparently enthusiastic.
Let's get our rank, man.
Yep.
Got to get our boost.
He's been playing it by himself. He's that infused.
Getting some practicing.
Yep. He's almost getting pretty good now.
Almost getting pretty good. That is high praise from Zach. Do you ever give out compliments of player skill that isn't always tinged with a slight amount of doubt?
Well, it's because like we're all average. It's like we're not amazing.
Yeah, no, of course not.
No.
But
we are so funny.
Yep. We score the dumb goals. I definitely
so funny.
Like the couple of times when it was just me and Kibbers playing, we scored a couple of real dumb goals. Can't remember how many I saved. Probably a couple. Make that replay file at some point. Trim those videos or something.
Yeah, Zach's Rocket League highlight reel.
Yep, I keep wanting to do it, but the trouble is, I like my problems with video editing aren't going away unless I put some effort in to maybe see if I can find a solution.
Yeah, don't know.
It's a big problem, not being able to actually edit videos. Because, now that we've got those OBS settings fixed, I can make a shit ton of video. Just can't do anything with it afterwards.
I'm sure is there a version of Sony Vegas or something that everyone uses that's like either free or cheap or something like that?
It's got to be something.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, don't know. Or ever on Pirates.
Yeah, exactly. Also quite like. That's Rocket League. Played a lot of it.
What else have you been playing, Zach?
I don't really remember that much. I've been continuing to play some things. I didn't really play that much more Mirror's Edge, I guess, after E3.
Oh, yeah.
I played some more. Cleared out like maybe 2/3 of the map of most of the stuff, like the open world stuff as well. The trouble with the open world stuff in that game is that when you finish the campaign, you get a special upgrade where it's like shows grid leaks on the map, which is one of the types of collectibles.
Okay, so you can see where to find them.
So you can see them on the map. But the trouble is, that one specific type of collectible that you get this ability to see on the map is by far the easiest one to find, and also it's a giant glowing ball that makes a sound and floats in midair and is really obvious.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Like, that's not the one that I need the map for. It'll be like, I need the map for like, all the circuit boards and stuff you have to rip out of security consoles, because those are fucking impossible to find.
Yeah, that doesn't sound ideal.
Like, there was one area of the map that one of the early areas of the map is quite small, and I was like, I can probably clear that out. And like, there's 2 goddamn circuit boards somewhere in this area that I just can't find, and I've scoured it so fucking thoroughly. It's like, where the hell are these things? Because it's not like they can even be in like particularly unusual positions, because they're like these wall-mounted security boxes. So they're like, they always have to be on the wall. They always have to be next to a flat bit of ground that you can stand on while you're doing the animation, I guess. So it's like, there's not really that many places they can possibly be.
No.
But goddamn it, I can't find them. So after I spent like 2 hours just scouring that tiny area for like forever, I was just like, okay, all these other areas, I'm just moving around,
moving around that world, not at high speed or whatever.
Well,
but
I
just
mean,
like looking in every nook and cranny can't be so much fun.
There's some amount of fun to be had of like trying to get to places, although it can be kind of frustrating as well.
Frustrating.
Because like they've like badly designed the level again, in that like there's places where there's just straight up invisible walls where it's like you can almost make it, but then there's an invisible wall. It's like, I can probably, if I do this awesome jump, like wall run and then turn and then jump and then backwards wall run off this other wall, I can probably jump over that, except I can't because there's an invisible wall there. And you don't find that out until you've tried it several times and realize that you're not just clipping the top of the fence. There is actually an invisible wall.
Yeah, that is bad. I mean, would it have hurt them to make a bigger wall?
Yeah, exactly. It's like they didn't quite think far enough ahead of like the exact. I mean, I guess it's like practically impossible to test, to be like, try every single possible way you could approach this one specific wall with all the different movement options you have and all the other various things in the vicinity that you could potentially jump off or onto.
Oh, sure, yeah, but then they thought to make the invisible wall there. Is the flip side to that? They thought to make that
yeah, but when you're making the invisible wall, you're not making the invisible wall because you don't. The invisible wall is there to stop you going into bits of the level that aren't rendered or functional or whatever. But the physical, like the visible wall that you're putting there, you don't necessarily think about that much. Or at least, you don't think, you just make it quite tall. You don't necessarily think that's a testing problem.
I mean, something that looks natural in the world, I guess, as opposed to something that could be, like, they thought would actually be broken.
I mean, technically, I wouldn't have minded if they'd done like a runner vision thing where it shows invisible walls in like the runner vision, because that would still make sense from the game world perspective, I guess, because the runner vision is like your heads up display; it's projected into your eyes. You could have like a no entry sign or whatever just appear floating in midair and it'd be totally fine. It wouldn't make sense that you could collide with it, but it would at least stop you from thinking you could get over there.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
But they don't want to do that.
That might just
fuck up the freedom.
I guess that's freedom. And also, you could argue that perhaps that's just highlighting bits where they failed.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, I did quite like that. Quite a lot more. There's not that much more to do, I guess. Depends on whether I want to. The thing is, you get like unlocks for collecting the collectibles at certain points, which are just like a percentage of the total. So you don't have to 100% everything. You just have to like 80 or 90% some things is some of these collectibles. But then the trouble is, I think the one that I'd have the most problem with if I wanted to try and get more of the stuff would be like the secret bags and the recordings. Because the recordings are like, those almost can be anywhere, because it's just like any flat surface. It's just like, oh, there's a recording sitting there on top of this building for no apparent reason. Those are real difficult to find. And then the secret bags is like, they're annoying because if you're nearby a secret bag, it has like a sound, like it makes a noise. So you can sometimes find them that way, where it's like you hear the beeping and you're like, oh, there's a secret bag somewhere around here. And like in the first game, there's supposed to be like the runner mark on the wall that tells you when there's a secret bag nearby. But like there's a couple. Again, this is another one of those things where I scoured this entire area for ages, and I couldn't even find the runner mark for one of the secret bags that I know is in this area because I don't have it. And I'm like, isn't the whole point of the runner mark meant to give you a hint to where this bag is? And I can't even find the mark. Not very helpful. So yeah,
I've forgotten about those. That marking thing. That's kind of a neat little. There's a neat way of showing it. Like a little sort of like world buildy thing.
You know, it worked a lot better in a game where it was basically a linear path, and you were very likely to run across the mark on the way to where you were going.
Or there were moments where there were points of no return in the design of the level. You know, so it's like if you saw the mark, it's like, oh no, right, okay, I should probably not go much further.
Well, yeah, it's because you knew it was like it's around here somewhere, but not in the forward dimension, I guess, not in the forward progression of this level. So yeah,
the forward dimension.
It's kind of okay. I'm coming into I guess I didn't really play that much of the last sections of the city. It was weird because like the way the story sends you through stuff. I mean, like I said before, it doesn't make you do any side stuff. Essentially, it's like you can just mainline the story. So I didn't really do much of the stuff in the last sections of the level where like the style changes and it goes all upper class or whatever. It's all like fancy apartments on top of buildings that you're running across instead of just like rooftops with ventilation or whatever.
Penthouses.
Yeah, penthouses. So I didn't really see that much of that part of the city, but I'm not sure how much of it there is. And it's also another one of those really awkward like bottlenecks to get in and out of, where there's one bit where you have to go through this museum and it's this really awkward series of walkways that you have to get across, and that's the only way you can possibly get in or out of this section of level. Kind of sucks.
Sometimes like when the areas like that, it's always like the last area in games where that stuff seems to suck the most, right? Like, you know, where the sort of the actual world that you're traversing feels bad because I guess it's trying to gate you by the powers that you had available to you. So it's like, you need to have these awkward mechanics to get around.
Sort of. In this case, it's just, I think the one that I mostly find annoying is just like, it's not an interesting bit of level at all. It's actually like just like quite a wide open room that's just got nothing in it. And all you have to do is like go up the stairs and then climb across these 3 catwalks high up. And it's like, that's not an interesting visual bit of level. And there's like nothing in this. It's just like, why is this big open room even here?
Right.
Just not very nice.
It's a company lobby.
Yeah, probably. I am if there's one thing that I still want to do in Mirror's Edge, maybe, is like I kind of want to see it on Rob's new machine to see what it looks like when everything's set up to maximum.
Well, I guess if we try that and actually do, because you thought about doing a video, didn't you?
Well, sure. I mean, that would just be convenient now, wouldn't it? Yeah. Because then we can do it with enhanced graphics potentially, or maybe not. They would have to take it down in order to be able to record.
Yeah, we still have to benchmark the new system as how well it could handle both, playing the game and recording simultaneously.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Still got to do all that, but you know, I've got a 6-core processor, so that stuff should be like easier for it. I don't know, but then again, our new settings offload stuff to GPU rendering, don't they? Like we offload using OBS anyway. We use the NVIDIA encoder to do things.
But you should.
That's the other thing that currently doesn't. That's the other thing that currently doesn't work. The driver version I've had to drop back to breaks NVIDIA encoding, so we can't use that right now.
No videos.
Yeah.
And I would also like, this is a really dumb thing to be even slightly interested in, but like I'd be kind of interested to see what the fuck Origin will do if I try and log in with my account on Rob's machine.
Yeah, I suppose we've never tried it, have we?
Yeah. Because it's like with Steam, you can just log in with whoever's account and it sort of deals with it. Sometimes it deals with it slightly weirdly, where it's like things that you don't own appear in your list because it's installed on the other person's account.
Yep, that happens.
But what will Origin even do? Are my saves even in the cloud? I don't actually know. I don't know whether it cloud saves. At least I can bring the disc, so you won't have to download like 25 gigs.
I guess Origin might do that, right? Because it sometimes does like pop up one of those little sync windows. Does it before you launch?
Sometimes, yeah. On some games. I guess I could look at the Mirror's Edge box and see whether it says cloud syncing or something on it, except the box is in my bag, so I can't be bothered to do that right now. So yeah, Mirror's Edge. And then other things, I played some Prison Architect, which hasn't really changed. Still Prison Architect.
Oh yeah, I saw you went back to that.
There had been some patches since the last time I played, but they were mostly stuff that I didn't turn on, I guess. Like advanced options, like hard mode, sort of. And I didn't feel like dealing with it, so I was like, I'm just going to play from the start again, and then maybe if I continue to play this long enough, then maybe I'll start turning some of these options on. All fancy stuff like weather and gangs and stuff like that.
You told me that is that feature where you build a prison specifically to sell it off to get more of a budget for the next prison?
Well, that's always been there.
Oh, that's always been there. Okay,
it's always been there, and it's not really that much of a feature. It's just like a weird, like functionally, it's like barely a mechanic at all, because it's just like when you go into your finance window and you click the sell button, it immediately pops up the new game window. Then you set all the settings for your new prison, and then you just start with however much money it said your previous prison was worth. Which, you know, arguably it's not even that important. Like, you only have to do that once, and then you're pretty much good from then on, because of the way the grant system worked in Prison Architect anyway, you basically always have enough money to do exactly what you need to do to complete the grants to progress through the progression of a prison. Like, the grants give you enough money to do the things that they want you to do, so it's like automatic. It was quite hard to fail in a money aspect, unless you were unnecessarily extravagant early on.
So I hear there's another theme park game on the radar, like
Yes,
the Roller Coaster Tycoon and Planet Coaster. This one's called Parkitect.
Yeah, it's been in
Brilliant.
alpha for a little while. I've seen it around. It's more like trying to be like Roller Coaster Tycoon, old school, like isometric pixel graphics type.
Oh right, okay.
And it looks all right, but it's still alpha-y, so there's not really much content or anything to it yet. Like build a couple.
Oh yeah,
of
I've just pulled it up now. Yeah, this looks a lot like old Roller Coaster Tycoon, like in its graphic style.
Yeah, seems like it will probably be okay if they put enough content in, as with all of these games at the moment, like Planet Coaster and the rest of them. It's just like, you've got a basic thing down, but now just you need a lot of content, levels, and things to put in those levels.
So is it 3D? No.
It's like old school isometric.
Isometric, yeah.
Okay.
Although I quite like the name of the developer, Texel Raptor.
Nice.
And then the other thing that I've been playing yet more of is Factorio, and also the Factorio patch that I kept saying about finally came out. But the trouble that I'd forgotten about with the Factorio patch is the previous version I've been playing was like 0.12.35 in their version numbering. And the difference between 0.35 and 0.1 is a lot of bug fixing. So this new patch is quite buggy at the moment. And I'd kind of forgotten about that. It's like once you're playing this 12.35 version, it's like, this is a nice, clean, virtually no bugs, everything that's in there is fixed up kind of alpha version. But then once you go back to a fresh new version, which introduces a lot of new stuff, bugs all over the place. So it was quite awkward to try and play that in the first couple of days. And the main reason I tried to play this new patch immediately was because the traditional reason, which is now that it's on Steam, there's Steam achievements. And I like the idea of having Steam achievements any achievements, not necessarily Steam ones, just achievements in Factorio.
Having some goals, you mean?
Yeah, having like a record of doing cool things, where it's like complete the game in 8 hours or whatever. Speedruns and production targets. The trouble is that, like, I think they should make another sort of set of achievements that are like repeatable, that are like only related to the game save. Like, you should always have these achievements for every save instead of it only happening once, and then once you unlock them in Steam, you're done.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Because that'd be nice. But yeah, there was some... and so I went in to be like, oh, maybe I can get some of these achievements, and then realised, oh, this is quite buggy at the moment, so maybe I should wait like a couple more weeks until there's at least a few more bug fix versions out, and then it will be better. Mainly, I realised it was buggy from one of the achievements, where it's like, there's an achievement for getting killed by a train, because that's just a thing that happens quite often in Factorio when you're not paying attention. It's just like, oh, a train ran me over because the trains are moving so quickly. And I just happened to be walking across the railway at that time.
I didn't realise you had a presence in that game.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like a top-down, like you put stuff where you want.
No, you actually have to be in range to place things with your physical character.
Huh.
It's important to how it plays, I guess. Makes it like you actually have to access stuff, not just be able to build it.
So does it just game over if you get killed by a train?
Yeah, it does at the moment. I mean, I don't think that's going to change. But like, so there's an achievement for it, for getting hit by a train, for dying. And in the first version, that achievement just automatically unlocked as soon as you started the game, because it was bugged where I think it was like they'd set the amount of damage wrong. Like, they'd set the minimum amount of damage to 0, so it was just automatically triggered, because it's like, oh, you've took 0 damage from this train that doesn't exist yet.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, you slightly programmed that wrong. But then they fixed that, but then the bug became like, I went back in to try and get that achievement, and I discovered the second bug where if you get hit by a train and have any window open, it crashes the game. It's like, oh, well, that's still bugged.
So bugged in a different way.
Yeah. And there were several attempts at bug fixing, like the research button in the research window, where it's like, the research button in the research window is like, in the first attempt, it was fine. In the second attempt, they were like, oh, we fixed it for certain resolutions, except that, like, unfixed it for most other resolutions, where, like, now the research button is mostly off the screen instead of sometimes off the screen. And then the third version, apparently, that got fixed back to, and now it works properly. Maybe. I haven't actually checked that yet. So yeah, lots of bug fixes. They've actually managed to make 5 bug fix releases this week, so pretty much one a day for the whole week. So hopefully, like, one more week and most of the major ones will be taken care of. Oh yeah, the other reason that I didn't actually want to play that version was one of the bugs that hasn't been fixed yet is the terrain generation is all fucked up. It just, like, makes a big mess, essentially. And, you know... I don't want to play on a big mess. I want nice landscapes. Not that the landscape really has any effect in Factorio, but it just looks nice.
Sure.
And to some extent, it does have some effects. Like, there's a bug where it just creates too many lakes. Or not lakes, like ponds, I guess. Small amounts of water. It just creates too much of that all over the place, and that just gets in the way.
Challenge map.
Yes, to some extent. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to go back to playing Factorio, the new version, in a couple of weeks. So not that I was done with my modded previous game yet, still. I had a look at that save file, like, on the actual save window, and it seems that I've been playing that one map in that modded Factorio for 80 hours.
Jeez.
And it's still, like, still got stuff to do. I've just started trying to harvest the aliens directly for the alien artifacts that you get out of them, which takes a bit of, like, dodginess and, like, exploiting the spawn mechanics and stuff.
I sort of can't believe how much time you're putting into this game. It's like you're obviously into it, but like a bit of me is just like, wow, really that long? It's insane.
It's like the save file might be 80 hours, but, you know, it's the classic thing of, like, thinking takes a long time.
Sure.
It's like when you're playing Infinifactory. It's like, actually building a solution probably doesn't take that long, but actually thinking through each step is the thing that takes the major amount of time. And it's the same thing for Factorio. It's like, once you progress past the point of just building, like, as you need it, once you're into the stage of, like, thinking about efficient ways to lay out this factory in advance of actually doing it, then you're having to think like 2 or 3 steps ahead of like, this will be here at some point in the future, so I shouldn't build stuff there. I should build it over here instead, so it's not blocking it when I build this other thing. And that takes even more time to think about.
We really do need to find a practical outlet for your for your talents.
Never going to happen.
So yeah, that was Factorio. Quite a bit of that still. And I expect once the new version is patched sufficiently, I'll probably get back into that in the multiplayer again if the other person who wants to play it. Because we haven't been playing any more Korea. Although I think that's not necessarily out of like not wanting to. It's more just because it's been real hot where they are, so they haven't wanted to play anything.
Oh, I see.
Just like lie down.
Yeah, I'm going to sleep for a season.
Summer, too hot.
Not a happy salad season, because that would be a whole year. But
hasn't been hot in England so far, really, has it?
I don't know. It's pretty. It was pretty horrid today for me.
There's been a couple of days. Like the whole last week, it was just drizzly and grey, and then the week before that, it was thunderstorms, but far away thunderstorms. So they weren't actually interfering. Not really warm.
I don't mind that at all.
No.
It's comfortable. Today hasn't been so comfortable.
Slightly warm in here. Slightly.
It's probably just the trains I was on and the tube I was on.
Yeah, well,
exaggerating.
The tube is always warm.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what time of year, fucking warm.
I really wasn't feeling good on the tube and the train today. It's just sort of like that horrible, just muggy enough to be just horrible.
Yeah, it's not very nice on the tube. Well, it's better on the line that wasn't working for you because that one's air conditioned.
Yeah, damn you, London Transport. You're good all the time except Sundays.
Yes. I think that's probably most of the things I played. I don't really remember anything else.
Cool. My turn?
Yep, I guess.
How metal is your gear?
It's pretty metal. What's going on with that? Oh yeah, I did the the quiet fight again, obviously, because you have to do it again in hard mode.
Yeah, the hard mode. Right. That was pretty hard.
Well, I just cheesed it again.
Yeah.
I mean, that does work. I mean, it's a bit more difficult to do.
I thought she became aware of it this time because I tried that tactic, having failed to do it properly a few times, and it's like, screw it, let's try and cheese this. And I just kept dropping stuff, and she'd just get out of the way, and it's like, oh, well, okay, this doesn't work now anymore.
She gets out of the way at the last moment, so stand up and make her shoot at you, and then she can't.
Oh, and then she doesn't get out of the way. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So that works.
Okay, I didn't think of that.
But I mean, I don't mind redoing these missions. I quite like the twists on them. That one's a bad example, but I mean that one's fine. But what I don't understand is why didn't they? I mean, it would have taken a bit of work, but why didn't they do you think they could have skipped out the cutscenes because they make no sense? Like watching those, cutscenes.
Oh, what you mean? The ones that play sort of randomly.
Well, that
currently the new story, but out. Or do you mean the cutscenes of the old missions?
I mean the old story playing again. It doesn't make any sense to have to do the choice with Quiet again after you've known her for ages. I mean, couldn't they have rejigged the mission slightly so that it just ended, or I don't know, or something? Do you know what I mean? And some of them even after you complete the mission, you get a little, update from Master Miller. And it's the same one you got the first time around. And you really don't need to see that at all, because you've had that story. It's quite dumb that. I mean,
yeah.
I think that's annoying. I mean, I don't mind having redoing the missions, like I say, but the fact that you have to rewatch the story that doesn't make any sense because you've still got good story going on.
Yeah, they're sort of skippable, aren't they? But then, a lot of the ones that are sort of cut, you still have to wait for it to fast forward, kind of.
Yeah, I don't know.
In the background,
it's just a little bit weird. I feel like they could have pulled the gameplay out, and
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, that's fine. And what else is going on? Oh yeah, so level 3 stun arm is ridiculously OP. It's insane. Like, there's those side ops which are like eliminate the heavy infantry or whatever. Do you ever play any of those ones? And they're I mean, they're just little short things, but because they're wearing the full riot gear, you can't you can't snipe them in the head or whatever. With a tranquilizer. So they're a bit more harder to deal with. You really have to get up behind them. But the stun arm Mark III, once you charge it all the way up, it's basically an area of effect lightning strike that stuns everyone within like quite a long distance, like 15 meters or something. It instantly stuns everyone. It's insane.
I never got that either, that one.
But the combination of that and, honestly, D-Dog's go and stun that guy ability, which seems to work on people. That works on people. There's no ammo for it, and it works on people with full armor. It's pretty powerful. The only thing with that is you kind of need there to be just one guy on his own, because if one spots him, they'll shoot him and kill him, which is not good. But even if they shoot and kill, which has only happened once, but even if they start shooting at your dog, they have no idea that you're there, so there's no kind of alert. It doesn't raise their alert into looking for you status, because they're like, well, it's a dog. So
a dog carrying a stun baton and wearing combat armor.
Wearing combat armor, yeah, exactly, with an eye patch. So that's pretty dumb. But I mean, I'm enjoying having the sniper rifle now with the tranquilizer, because I could never use a sniper rifle before because I didn't have non-lethal. I've now realised that I probably could have used Quiet, and I never used her at all. And it would have been quite nice for the story to have used her, because I think I've now realised that you can take her on a mission and you are in control of whether or not she actually kills anyone. So I'm pretty sure she won't just randomly kill people unless you're spotted.
No, that's generally how she works.
So what that means is I could have raised her loyalty, I think. Although I think her loyalty gets raised more by killing people than just coming along with you. But she can do scouting and stuff. But I could have, I think, raised her loyalty to a point where I could have equipped her with a non-lethal rifle without her ever killing anyone. I'm not sure. Anyway, but I wouldn't have had D-Dog, and I like D-Dog. So I mostly just use D-Dog for everything. Especially now I've got the fast run. Like, I don't really need the horse that much. I mean, it takes a bit longer than the horse, but I mean, even the horse takes a while to get around on. So yeah, it's cool. And also I've discovered that the side ops, I was avoiding the side ops that were like eliminate the armored armored unit or eliminate the tank unit, because I assumed they would involve running around blowing up tanks, just like in back up, back down, or whatever, that mission in Afghanistan where you have to blow up. But it's not, of course. It's like one tank surrounded by dudes, and it's just a case of eliminate the dudes and then
make sure you don't get spotted by the tank.
Yeah, pretty much. So they're actually fun. But the only annoying thing about that is I've discovered that if you trank guards standing next to a tank, for some reason the tank can just beep its horn and they'll just get back up. Which is really annoying.
And that happens real quick as well.
Yeah. But then again, now I could just, if I deal with all the snipers and stuff, then I can sneak up and use this ridiculous stun arm thing to stun everyone and immediately fall to the tank, which is ridiculously OP. But there you go.
Again, I didn't get that stun arm. I don't think. I got the rocket arm. And I think I used it once and thought, this is really dumb, and then didn't use it again.
I think the rocket arm is actually, further down the tech tree, maybe. But the stun arm, you need to hold it down for ages to get it to a point where it does that. So you need to charge it for ages. But that doesn't really matter if you're sneaking. You just wait. I don't think it alerts enemies the sound of it charging up or anything. There's a little bar in the bottom right that you can see when it's fully charged up, because it's quite hard to tell if you don't know that it's there. But that's ridiculous. It's like that. You basically turns you into Thor, the god of thunder.
I might not have figured out how that thing works. I wonder.
Yeah,
maybe I had it and like just equipped it and was just like, well, this seems like no different.
it wasn't totally obvious.
Dudes. Yeah.
Anywho, yeah. That's mostly it. I'm still upgrading Mother Base, but I'm getting to like level 4 on most of the platforms now. So I think I've maxed out all my R&D guys. So for the time being.
Yeah, it sounds like you're starting to get ahead of where I was technologically now, or at least in terms of upgrades. And
possibly.
like
I did play quite a lot of side missions, or side ops. So I probably, I don't know how many of those you did, but I quite enjoyed those. Some of them.
I did a few of them. I think I started giving up towards the latter half of the game. And sort of just like, no, I'm just going to mainline the rest of this now.
Yeah, fair dues. Yeah, but I'm getting towards the end there. I'm upgrading my. I've never used it yet. I'm upgrading my D-Walker in anticipation of having to do the stupid skulls fight again with the Gatling gun you recommended. Yeah. So I'm getting that ready to go, and I'm trying to research maximum armor or whatever for that stupid mission.
Yeah.
And for
get the super fat combat gear.
Yeah, the super fat style. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Fat gear.
Yeah, that's me. Oh, and I just bought a bunch of games in the Steam sale, so look forward to, I don't know, The Witness and XCOM 2 and shit like that at some point. But I'm still playing Metal Gear, so that's not going away.
Yeah, I might have to pick up a couple of things for the new machine. Methinks. I'm still tempted to like whether or not I go in on because I'm still keeping my eye on Grip and Formula Fusion, of course.
Yep.
Like my future racing eyes are open, and it's like whether or not. Got to admit, Grip looks pretty good. It's like I know they keep changing the physics at the moment and trying to make the game a bit more dynamic and just tidying things up. But it's like it's time to. It looks a lot of fun.
Cool.
Like just a straight racing anyway. So it's like I'm sort of wondering if I should go in on the early access, and it's not on sale or anything. They haven't put their early access on sale, but. I sort of expect the price to go up a bit when it comes out. Same thing will apparently happen with Formula Fusion, which is supposedly out next month, but the entire community is like, no, that's not happening.
How do they know?
To do.
Right.
Well, they think there's too much to do.
Okay, to get done.
Yeah.
Before the launch. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
So I don't know. I guess I can still hold off on those, but there may be some GTA 5 action from me, maybe. Something to ramp the text to detail up to max.
Yeah, I'll put that all the way up. I want to see what that looks like. I think mine is pretty high. Yeah, but still. Yeah, you should definitely play that game. I mean, the heists are fun. There's no denying it.
Yeah, I just sort of hope I like it, because it does sound more my thing than what GTA 4 was. So it's
I think it will be.
That's my concern, is that I'll just fall into that trap again. But
no, I reckon you'll like it more than 4. Definitely, it definitely plays a bit nicer, which is what you want, really. And you like, Anyway, we'll find out.
I like Red Dead, So
yeah, you like Red Dead. That's what I was going to say, but I'm not sure they're that similar. But yeah.
Yeah, and my new machine will be coming with a copy of Doom. So I'll be playing that.
Get ready to be doomed.
Get doomed. Doom.
Right, I think we're coming to the end of this one, are we?
Yeah, I think we are actually 3 minutes early for once on our old time schedule. Not a lot of news, not a lot of house grouse to get through.
No, I'm sure we'll have some next time.
The house grouse.
The house grouse. Get a new kettle, Zach, and then we'll have something to talk about there.
Get another bad kettle so there's more to talk about.
yeah, get the worst possible kettle. Just go
next time. There'll be the hot tub will be functional.
Oh, blimey.
Oh yeah,
okay. Plenty of
not
house
that I'm
grouse.
interested in getting in that.
You're not going to get in it.
Probably not.
Fair dues.
But you'll be at one with nature and bubbles.
and nature and entirely not nature.
Yeah.
No. You're under a tree.
Not quite under a tree.
You'll be outside.
Be next to a fish pond.
Yeah. There will be fish. Don't put the fish in the hot tub.
No, probably not.
Or do put the fish in the hot tub for a handy snack.
I don't think you could eat live fish out of a hot tub. I think it's a good plan. Oh, dear. Okay, thanks for joining us, listeners. There's going to be a Cyril Cyberpunk video coming up. The best video ever, I'm sure. I can't wait to watch it.
Nope.
A game that no one has ever played apart from us, as far as we can tell. So watch out for that, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks with all those games we just talked about. And Hot Tub House Grouse.
Is that the new movie? Screw Hot Tub Time Machine. It's a Hot Tub House Grouse.
Hot Tub House Grouse.
It's the English version.
So catch us for that, and see you there.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Say
What?
Say bye.
No.
Be polite.
Never.
No.